Welcome to the Legislative Information Center's tutorial on how to read the bill history page. The bill history page is divided into three sections. The top section here contains information about the bill. The second section shows the process that the bill went through and the dates associated with that process. And finally, section 3 shows all the documents associated with the bill, any fiscal notes, and any links to any videos that are related to committee hearing or floor action. For this bill history, we are indicated here, SB 5124 is the name of the bill. SB indicates that this is a Senate bill. House bills start with HB, and the title of the bill is listed just below on the bottom line here. This orange icon is used to add the bill to an RSS feed, which is kind of a bill tracking system. For more information on how to use RSS, click on the link, "What is this?" or go to the Legislative Information Center's web section, click on Legislative Documents, and go to the tutorial on how to use RSS for bill tracking. The link "Go to Documents" takes you to the bottom of the page where you can see all of the documents associated with the bill. Throughout the document, you can see items in green and underlined. These are simply links to other pages with more information. This line lists the sponsors of the bill. The first person listed, in this case Senator White, is always the prime sponsor, and the rest of the members are listed as co-sponsors. When a bill has a by request associated with it, it just means that one of the state agencies or the governor has requested that the legislature introduce this bill. In this case, the bill was introduced and sponsored by Senator White. Companion bills are introduced in the belief that they will have a better chance of one of them getting through the legislative process. They start out as identical bills, but of course after one or the other or both of them get amended in any way, they may no longer be identical. Beginning with the actual history of the bill, we can see that it had its first reading on January 14th. Each bill gets 3 readings. The first reading is its introduction. The second reading is the place in the process where any member has the opportunity to amend the bill, and the third reading is time for debate and final passage of the bill. If it's passed, it goes to the opposite house and repeats this process. So this bill was introduced on January 14th and was referred to the Government Operations, Tribal Relations, and Elections Committee. And this is the link where you can view the original bill. The bill was then scheduled for a public hearing on January 18th at 1:30 in the afternoon. This line currently shows that a public hearing was held, but the public meeting date is posted in advance of the actual meeting, so you can use this page to see when upcoming public meetings are scheduled. A little over a week later, on January 31st, the committee took executive action at 10 o'clock in the morning. Executive action just means that the committee voted to do something with the bill, usually to pass it on to the next step, which may be a money or fiscal committee, or to the rules committee. Committee meetings with executive action are open to the public, just like all other committee meetings, but no public testimony is taken. The meetings are also posted here in advance of the scheduled time. These 3 lines show the type of executive action taken by the committee and are posted when the committee report with a complete set of signatures is issued. In this case, on February 1st. This data may not always be available the same day as the committee meeting. The January 31st entry shows that the committee report was issued, confirming that executive action was taken by the committee, and that the majority of committee members recommended that a substitute bill be substituted for the original. The minority of the committee recommended that the bill not be passed. A substitute bill is one where a number of committee amendments are consolidated into a single document for convenience. When and if the bill gets to the floor of the chamber, the members will vote on which version of the bill to consider. the original bill, or one of the substitutes. The capital letters GO are just an abbreviation for the full committee name, in this case the Government Operations and Tribals Relations and Elections Committee, shown on the line above. Many bills go to a second committee, usually a Money or Fiscal Committee, like the Ways and Means Committee. If they make recommendations for additional amendments, those recommendations would be contained in a second substitute bill, and the version of the bill that the entire membership would decide to consider, the first, the second substitute, or the original, would be decided as part of the second reading process, which occurs later. After being passed out of the Government Operations Committee, the bill was sent to the Rules Committee on February 1st. The exact phrasing here, passed to the Rules Committee for second reading, really means that the bill was referred to the first step in its two-step process in the Rules Committee, and that if it gets passed out of the Rules Committee, it will go to the floor calendar and await a second reading. The floor calendar is just a list of bills that may be considered by the entire membership of the Senate or the House. Anytime you see a dotted underlining on the bill history page, you can place your cursor over it for a more complete description of the legislative action. On February 10th, the bill was made eligible to be placed on a second reading. This phrasing means the bill has passed the first of two steps in the Rules Committee and is eligible in the next Rules meeting to be sent to the entire membership for their consideration. On February 28th, the bill was placed on a second reading. That phrase, placed on a second reading, means the bill was passed out of the Rules Committee and placed on the second reading calendar to await its debate by the entire membership of the House or Senate. For a more detailed explanation of the Rules Committee process, please see our document on the Legislative Information Center's document page on this website. Click on the link to the Legislative Information Center, then on the Legislative Documents, and then on the Educational and Instructional Material. Finally, click on the PDF link under Rules Committee Procedures to get to the document. On March 4th, the bill got its second reading on the floor of the Senate before all the members. As part of that process, the entire Senate membership voted to consider the first substitute bill recommended by the Government Operations Committee rather than the original bill. The GO11 in parentheses refers to the committee and the year the substitute bill was created. The next line, floor amendment adopted, means that one or more floor amendments were offered and adopted by members of the Senate. Floor amendments, as opposed to committee amendments, are amendments that can be proposed by any member when the entire Senate or House is gathered in full session on the floor of their respective chambers. You can see how many amendments were proposed and adopted at the bottom of the page with all the rest of the legislative documents. The next line, rules suspended placed on third reading, shows us that on the same day, March 4th, the members of the Senate voted to suspend the rule requiring a 24-hour wait before a third reading, and to go ahead and debate and vote on final passage of the final version of the bill. We can also see from the line below that the bill was passed with 26 yeas, 23 nays, 0 absent, and 0 excused. Once the bill has passed the Senate, it goes over to the House, and on March 7th, it had its first reading and was referred to the House State Government and Tribal Affairs Committee. On March 10th, it had a public hearing and executive action taken on the same day. And you can see that the executive action was taken by committee. The action was majority, do pass. Minority report was do not pass. And on March 17th, it was passed to the Rules Committee for second reading. And recall that just means it went and was referred to the Rules Committee, and they will then take the bill under consideration to decide whether it should go on down to the floor to the second reading calendar. On March 23rd, the bill was placed on a second reading calendar by the Rules Committee, and looks like on March 25th there were no amendments added to the bill in the second reading, so they suspended the 24-hour rule and placed the bill on the third reading. And then it went, and the third reading, final debate and passage, was passed with 52 nays, 43 yeas, 0 excused, or 0 absent, and 2 excused. So then, since this bill was not changed in any way when it came over from the Senate, it goes back to the Senate, where the President signs the bill on March 29th. The Speaker signed it on April 1st, and it was delivered to the Governor. The Governor signed it on April 5th, and it became Chapter 10 of the laws of 2011, and it was effective on 7/22/2011.